Good morning. Time to make the coffee. Today's coffee is toasted hazelnut, and it's going to be 37 degrees out there today. It's pretty chilly, and I'm hoping my winter sowing project is going okay. Of course, it's way too early for the little seedlings to sprout, but I did my part. Now they have to do their part. So today, I've been wandering around my kitchen here, which is still a mess because I still haven't finished. And I've come to some conclusions. I have to get this done, and then I really seriously need to think about downsizing, like extreme downsizing, because I can't take care of it anymore. It's too much. It's all too much. So I have to sit down and make myself a list and see what projects I can take off the table, literally, and what I want to continue to do. So I'm going to have to get myself some boxes and carry on with a serious downsizing project. Now, I'm not just talking about decluttering. The two things I think are different. Decluttering is just getting rid of things you don't use anymore, whereas downsizing is just streamlining everything in your life. And that's the point I'm at. That's what I need to do. Where I have days where I don't feel like I can do a lot, and take a day or two off and not have everything just get so far behind that I have a hard time getting caught up. I'm talking about that kind of thing. So I'm going to seriously think about this and see what I can let go, and just enjoy life, rather than always have to chase this and chase that down. So, okay, I'm going to enjoy my coffee. Cheers. And I'll be back in a little while. And we'll talk about this some more. Well, good morning. Just sitting here at my kitchen table with very little space because I still have seeds all over. And I'm thinking about what it is that I really, really want to continue to do in my life. Because, I'm healthy, but I'm not perfectly healthy. Let me put it that way. You guys know I've got the arthritis, I've got the fibromyalgia, and when those two things kick in, I'm done for a while. So I'm to that point right now where the arthritis in my neck, it impacts my whole body because it pinches nerves, and then it does. It affects my head, it affects my limbs, and when I get to that point, then everything comes to a screaming halt. So I have to work my way around that. I'm not ready to go sit in that rocker and just forget about it. I'm not ready to do that, and I probably never will. But I have to be realistic, and this doesn't just impact us when we're older. I know a lot of younger people that, these things happen to them too, and even, if you're perfectly healthy, a lot of times just life burns you out, so I don't know, it just it's what happens. So anyway, right now I am up to here with my gardening projects, and The things that I'm planting are things that I would spend money on to buy. But I guess there comes a point where you have to weigh your options. Time or money. Ability or money. Or sometimes neither. Sometimes you don't have the ability and you don't have the money. So I really have to get serious. I mean, I've been decluttering for a long time. I've been, you know, rearranging things, and that happens. But there comes a point where you have to get really serious about it. And that's whether you're younger or older, you can't let all your stuff take over your life because it gets to be too much. So one of the things that I have to seriously cut back on is my gardening. Once I get my garden rearranged, it should be much easier, but planting so many seeds, I seriously don't know if I'm going to have room for all of it. You know, I get into projects and I kind of get carried away with it. If I'm passionate about something, you know, 1 is good, but 10 is much better. So I've always been that way. You know, if I'm into art, I'm into art. That doesn't mean I'm going to be into art forever, but, you know, I have to have all the bells and all the whistles, and I watch a lot of educational things, like on YouTube, or I read a lot about it, and then, oh, there's a new technique, and I need to run out and get this brush, and that canvas, and, you know, this medium, and that's just what I do. So some of my hobbies I need to cut back on. I just do. I'm not ready to let all of them go, but it's to the point where I can't get to any of them, you know, so what's the use? Another thing that I need to cut back on is cooking from scratch. Now I know, you know, that's not something that I want to let go altogether, but I have to do a little bit more small batch cooking and freezing, and not cooking so much every day, because it takes up a lot of time. It really does. You know, half the day is spent planning a meal, and then the other half you're making the meal. So I need to cut back on that. You guys know I've been cutting back on clothes. You know, I hardly ever buy clothes anymore, and I used to buy clothes like every week. So I'm doing okay with that, but I still have way too many. You know, you really do only wear about 20% of your wardrobe, but I'm definitely not going to a minimalist capsule wardrobe. I mean, that for me is not going to work, and sometimes I wish it would work, but I would get extremely bored with that. You know, even though you have a wardrobe that you can mix and match and, you know, kind of create different outfits with, I would be bored with that. And I think a lot of the things that I do, and you guys might be the same way, you do it to alleviate boredom. Because a lot of us are, you know, in our house a lot, and, you know, younger people too. This whole COVID thing, you know, kind of changed our lives, and we got used to being home. So, and I enjoy being home. I know a lot of people, they want to go out every day and, you know, do whatever it is they do, and that's fine. But I've always been a homebody, so that was never a big issue for me. You know, oh, you gotta stay home, or you gotta do this. It's like, okay, I'm good with that because it's my normal lifestyle anyway. So sometimes some of these things actually work for your benefit. But so that didn't have a big impact on my life. But for me, it was more cutting back on shopping, which I hardly ever do. But speaking of shopping, yesterday I did go out and spend a little money. I had to go to Drug Mart and I got another container for my gardening, and they had potatoes for $2.50. Small Idaho potatoes, which I like the small potatoes because it's not too much for me for one meal. So I bought that, and what else did I buy? Oh, I bought 2 bags of soil because I'm not quite done with planting. I mean, I'm in it now, so I'm going to finish up what I started. So I needed some more soil, and I can't cut back on the barking. I have been trying. Lizzie is 8, and I have been trying for 8 years to get her to stop. And she just isn't having it. So anyway, we were talking about what I bought yesterday. Yeah. So and I got a couple bananas. So altogether I spent $20, which isn't too bad. But that's a big focus that I want to continue on. But, the whole thing is, don't feel bad. If you can't keep up and you don't want to do something anymore, don't feel bad about it. Just go with it. Sometimes you need to find things to replace something else. So, I don't know. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Not feeling bad about it, going with your capabilities. What I'd love to do is, I've got a couple bills that I got to pay off, and once that's done, I'd love to get somebody to come in here and clean for me once a month. That would be awesome. I don't know if I'll do it, but, that would be great. So I think what I'm going to do, starting when I feel a little more up to it, is just continue going room to room and just packing things up, calling the donation people, and having them come and pick it up. Because there are so many things in my house that are not useful to me anymore. Dishes and pots and pans. And now my kitchen, I know I have the open shelving, and it probably won't change much because I use my appliances, I use the things on my open shelving, and I like it. My kitchen feels cozy to me. I know some people might think, oh, that's too much stuff, but to me it feels cozy. I always used to like to go into those little novelty stores where they had all the homemade things and all the little knickknacks and stuff, and I always felt very comfortable in there. Well, you can't live with all that stuff because you have to keep it clean. But so I think I need to, downsize some of those things. Now, I mean, my house was never like a store in that regard. But speaking of stores, that's another thing that I want to cut back on is food. Now, I really spend very little money on food. I think I've got that down pat pretty much. But I still need to cut back on my inventory of what I have and start using more of it rather than continuing to stock up and continuing to buy. Honestly, I hate it. I really hate it. But the way the things are going these days, you almost feel like you have to. And that kind of makes me angry, that I have to live that way. That all this hype about food insecurity and oh, this store is closing, Walmart's closing, this is happening, that's happening. it makes me angry that I have to even think about those things, or saving this or saving that because it's what the ancestors did and it's how they got through the Great Depression and yada yada. It's not sustainable. We can't, it's a different time. We can't continue to live our lives that way. I mean, I'm a big advocate on having what you need and having enough in your home. Definitely, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about overdoing it and getting into a panic mode about, oh, I need more, I need more, I need more. That's just not healthy. It's just not healthy, and it's not a good way to live. And it fills our lives and our houses up with stuff. And I'm just sick of the stuff. I'm sick of the stuff. I'm sick of taking care of it. I know this is kind of a rant, and but it's something that I wanted to talk about because other people might feel the same way. So I'm going to finish up my gardening project for this year, and I have cut way back. I mean, I used to spend a lot of money on plants and dirt and everything like that, and I don't want to do it anymore, and I can't do it anymore. I just don't have the finances to continue to do that. So that's my deal about starting more seeds this year and trying different things and different techniques and seeing if I can't grow some of that stuff myself rather than buying it all. So, all right, well, I'm going to finish my coffee and maybe get a box, put a few things in a box, and see when the donation people are going to be in my neighborhood, and carry on with that. So, all right, I'll be back. All right, I've been recycling these little coffee pods because there's so many. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put soil and start some of my little sprouted seeds in these, and I figured I could put maybe 3 in here just to start out, and they'll be useful. There's a hole in the bottom. I'm going to put these all in a container. They line up nicely like that, and then they'll continue to live on under my grow lights. If you don't have a rack with grow lights, you can always get a freestanding grow light and put that over a table and grow a few things that way. But what I'm doing is, it's hard to do with one hand, but I'm peeling the foil off of here, then I let it dry for a day or so, and I dump the coffee into my composter, and the paper liner in here comes off really easily, and that can go in the compost too. And then I rinse out the little cups, and I can reuse them. And that's something that actually you can use year after year. You don't need to throw them out, but if you don't want to garden, you can always recycle them. Really easy to do, and the coffee is great for your garden. So that's just a little tip on saving money on fertilizer and little seed planting pods. Well, one little stevia is still living. Maybe 2. The one over here is not looking too happy. So, I don't know. I don't hold up much hope for the stevia, but we'll see. Well, the seedlings, these are carnations. Those are coming along, and they'll be having leaves shortly. The zinnias are doing really well. There's 3 layers of those. Some of them are already getting little leaves. And these are Cosmos. They're doing well. So it's coming along, and these are some of the little seeds that I'll be putting in the coffee pods. So my starter is finally starting to get a few bubbles. It's nowhere near ready, but it's been so sluggish for so many days. I'm going to let this go probably till this evening, and then I'm going to take half of it and discard it and put another half of a cup of flour and a third of a cup of warm water in it and let it sit some more. So that's been starting to work. So the saga of the sourdough starter continues. Okay, I'm back in my kitchen and I'm trying to use up what I already have. So I found a recipe to make bread with your sourdough discard, because I've got quite a bit of it. Got like a couple jars of this. So it's not going to leaven the bread. You use yeast, bread yeast with it, but it can impart a little bit of a sourdough flavor. So I'm going to give that a try, but first I have bread I need to use up. So I have here some Irish soda bread that I bought, last week sometime, whenever I went shopping. And I want to make some Irish soda bread French toast. I think that would be really good with the raisins and everything. So that's what I'm making this morning. And I'll be back in a minute once I get all these ingredients ready. Okay, I have a couple packets of whole earth sweetener here. So those are going in, and that should be plenty sweet. And then I have this creamer, non-dairy, that I want to use up. So I'm going to use that. In no particular amount. I'd say maybe half a cup. Just kind of eyeball it. And 1 egg. If you're vegan or vegetarian, or well, vegan, and you don't eat eggs, you could add some flax to this. And then I'm just going to add a little tiny pinch of salt, not much. And I also want to add some cinnamon. Okay, so I have some cinnamon here, and I'm just going to eyeball this too, however much you like. If you like a lot of cinnamon, add a lot. If you a little bit of cinnamon, add a little bit. If you don't like it, don't put it in. And then I'm going to put a splash of vanilla in, maybe half a teaspoon. And that's it. Then I'm going to fry this up. And I'm going to, now this is really too much for one slice, so I think I'm going to make a couple slices. And then I'll have enough for either a bigger breakfast or for tomorrow, because you can reheat this. So, okay, that's good. I'm going to put my bread in there, and I cut some nice thick slices of soda bread. Let those soak up in there, and I'll be back. Okay, I just have a little butter in the pan here. My bread's been soaking for a little bit, and I'm just going to pop it in there and cook it until it's no longer real squishy. Depends on how you like your French toast. Alright, put a couple more slices in, and that's it. Now you can top this with syrup, of course. I'm going to use powdered sugar, or you can put homemade jelly on it, whatever you want. And Irish soda bread is really good as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich too. So that's what I'm having for breakfast this morning. And I'm going to carry on with my day. All right, so here it is. Looks pretty good to me. Let me give it a taste. So if you have some Irish soda bread left over, turn it into French toast. The creamer gives it a custard-like consistency. It's very tasty, and I'm using up what I have. So there you go. So all right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.